Hey, what's up guys? My name is Moda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be a monthly ASIC pricing update. This is going to be for November 2023, right? This is the video where we focus on pricing. We're focusing on the fluctuations. We're looking at what's gone the lowest, what's gone the highest, and look at overall price trends, right? So there has been quite a few drops. Talk about those here shortly, all right? So if that sounds good, guys, stay tuned. Let's get right to it. So overall, price-wise of the overall market, especially in comparison to last month, bullish. Bullish AF, right? Last month was the beginning of the conflict on the other side of the world. So we're at 27, but things were still kind of iffy. Currently now at 34, and we've been holding this range, right? So BTC's been up. The difference between this one and some of the other pumps, a lot of the alts are pumping like crazy. It's like a little mini altcoin season, especially for a lot of the top alts, right? The things in the top 50, top 100. Been doing very, very well. A lot of big runners, right? Something to definitely keep our eyes on. And as far as pricing goes, BTC miners have been going up a lot. Some of the altcoin miners have been going down, right? So let's talk about those here now. Let's get right to it. So the biggest news of the day today, Ice River. Ice River announced their price on the new KS0, which was cheaper than even what I thought. And they did a whole price reduction all across the board, right? So the new price, I think that's part of the reason also why the price was so aggressive, is because it coincides with the reduction of the other prices, right? It kind of falls in lines and scales well in that department, right? So KS0 Pro, which is essentially two of the old KS0s, it's $429 per unit. So pretty good price there. KS1, $18.99, KS2, $35.99, KS3M, $89.99, and the KS3, the 8 terahash model at $13.9, right? So super good price there, especially keep in mind overclocks. Like even this KS3 is an overclock up to 9.2. So something to keep in mind there. And there are better prices if you're able to get them direct. So Andrew from Twitter did hook us up with T-Swift's prices from Discord. KS0 Pro, $385. KS1, $1645. The 2 terahash, the KS2 is at $3100, $3090. KS3M, $7740, and then the KS3 at $12,000, right? So this is from a direct seller though, so don't expect like freaking Walmart kind of thing, Walmart customer service, anything of that sort. It's a direct buy. There's no middleman. That's why it's cheaper. Go into the Kaspa Discord, go into the mining hardware section. You can find tons of people who have purchased through him. No affiliation with him. It just has the best prices, right? That's the end of the day. That's what we're looking for. And currently, got the best prices, right? So pretty interesting stuff there. Again, you got to do your risk versus reward and just understand that this is going to continue to happen, right? They've been in this little pricing battle that Ice River just continues to win because of their drops. They're timing them super well and they're winning, right? And it's something that I don't want to get in the middle of, right? Because even just with that big drop at 20K, I mean, look at where we're at now, right? Even like on Nhash was the first one that did have a lower price from the Bitmain units. So they had a deal just today, this morning. I'm assuming it's in response to these Ice River prices, the 8.2 at 14.8 and the 9.4 at 16.8, right? Which is a significant price reduction from where we were last month and even more so from where we were a month prior to that, right? But at the end of the day, Ice River's still beating them, right? It's just... it's super fascinating. We'll see how long this goes on. It seems like every 3-4 weeks this has been happening, right? And I'm sure it's going to continue to go on. As we've said, the biggest thing is that these KS3 models still make a ridiculous amount of money. So there's still a lot of... they can continue to go down and still be super profitable, right? It's just crazy, 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 right? All right, so let's get to some more news. And this one is now in line with the price that we said it should have been from the get-go. Right, so this is the Bitmain miner X5. This is that Monero miner. When it released, MSRP was $29.99. After coupon price being at $21.99, so usually 10 to 20% higher is where the street price ends up landing. So we're guessing $24,000-$2,500 is where it should have been at, right? But as we saw, because of the hype, because of the interest, and because of that little fake sellout thing they did, right? They listed it up, went up, sold out in 10 seconds, which we all knew was full of crap, and people bought into the hype, right? And also the stores did as well, so they were listing initially at $29.99, then they went up to $3, then after this little fake sellout, they went up to $31, $33, $35, $37, right? But in combination with it being overinflated and all the bad news recently from a lot of people having issues with it, the price came finally back down to reality where it should have been from the get-go, right? So if you don't follow Bitmain's prices and little marketing schemes, now you know. Whenever you see these little fake sellouts, keep in mind, do you think it was legit? Do you think it was manufactured? And we kind of see the price points, right? They have this MSRP, then they have the street price, which is the price after the 30% coupon, which I don't even know why they do that, but they do. And the street price seems to land somewhere in between, right? So now, okay, so you're unfamiliar with that process, now you kind of know, right? But I mean, at the same time though, we're getting towards the end of this bear market, guys. We're getting to the point where we may not have as many dips, right? So we'll see how things continue, but just keep in mind of the timeline, where we're at, how much time we have left, and where things can go, right? So some things to think about, things to consider. Next one on the list, the Jazz Miner. So the X16Q is finally showing a cheaper price on the stores. When I did the video last month, some of you guys were commenting that some of your distributors or some of your direct connects, some of you guys purchased at 2,500, right? So kind of gave the heads up that this was coming, because typically, again, they see the lower price reductions first, and then we see them come to fruition from the stores. So Nhash does have the 1950 down to 24.49, which is massively more appealing at this price point, right? Especially considering it was what, 37 at the get-go, then 35, then people pre-ordered and didn't get them until just recently, and then now it's all the way down to this price. So it sucks for those who pre-ordered and got it super late, right? But for you guys just coming in, we have this price point and potentially lower. Another thing to know, a lot of the smaller stores, or a lot of the vendors, I should say, are listing a lot of different variants, right? They have like a 1950, a 1850, 1750, all the way down to 1650, with the price going down incrementally, right? So the lower end guy coming in like right at 2,000, 1,900 bucks, right? So just keep in mind that may be coming. I haven't really seen them listed too much on the stores yet. The only one I have seen showing a different variant was BT Miners. They do have an 1845 listing, right? So it may be something that they're waiting for their Black Friday deal. If they do a deal, who knows if they do, but that might be what it is that instead of reducing the price, they'll have lower prices by showing those other models, right? Because if you have a 1650 down to like 2,100, 2,000 bucks, it's going to look like a deal, even though that's where it should be at, if the base price for this guy is 2,500, right? So again, at this price point, massively more appealing, because at this point, it's almost in line with the E9 Pro. Still slightly higher, but at least it's not like a 2-to-1 where we were in the past. Right, at one point when I had done the comparison video, the E9 Pros were like between 1,700, 1,800 bucks, and one of these guys was 3,500. So it made massively more sense to get two E9 Pros versus one of these. But now that they're closer to being 1-to-1, it doesn't make this guy massively more appealing, because at the end of the day, this is the superior unit. This guy is way more efficient. It's pretty amazing what they've been able to do with this one, right? So definitely more appealing at this price point. We'll see where the trends go. ETC has been on a little run, so who knows if it even makes it to Black Friday where we get cheaper prices, but keep that in mind, right? So now let's get on to the next one. So the S21s are kind of flipping a little bit. So now currently all the vendors do have this model now where they are pricing it based off of the batch, right? They have batches listed from January all the way to June, gradually going up in price, right? So like, for example, with BT Miners, their January batch is at 47. February goes down to 45, March 42, and then April's the significant price drop, which is down to 35, and it's because of the halving, right? At that point, you're most likely not going to have it in hand prior to the halving, right? So a couple of things to think about, though. Number one, this price is very aggressive, or not aggressive, it's very high, I should say, right? A lot of the smaller, like Telegram, WhatsApp vendors are having a price closer to like the mid threes to high threes, even for the January batch, right? So it's currently still, they're trying to see what they can get away with, and in general, this is just super on the high end. Even like Crypto Miner Bros, which is typically on the higher end, they're at 41, 49 for the January batch, right? So just depending on the hype cycle, what happens with BTC's price, things can fluctuate, right? If we do go on a downtrend, it is potential they go lower, but I think it's much more likely that we're going to go up, right? So, and even if we just maintain this price point, right? Like we'll see where the prices go, but just factor those things in. Again, it's very hard to time or to get the bottom price, right? It's all about getting that risk to reward, see what makes sense. because it can happen. We can go lower or we can go way higher as some of the other models have gone, right? So like this guy did go down, but for example, like the S19K Pros, they did tick up a little bit. Some stores more than others, just because again they're trying to take advantage of this recent pump. Like BT miners did go up a significant amount. Their November batch for the 120 is 1756, but then you gotta add $200 for shipping, right? So it's gonna bring you well over 2K. Versus Altair Tech, they only raised theirs about $60, right? So it did go up, but $60 really ain't nothing, especially considering that it's possible this guy continues to go up, right? So it's at 1749 currently. One that did tick up a good amount in a lot of the stores was the XP, actually. BT miners did raise it up to like 35, 36. Even these guys, they had it in the low threes. I think it was like 31, 32. They have it at 36 now, right? But again, the S19K currently is just massively more appealing. There's been issues with the XP. So far, it seems like the K Pro is going to be solid. It's not necessarily based off of, but it's very similar in build to the J Pro Plus, just because of the way the heatsink design is. And so far, those have been holding up well, which gives us most likely that these may possibly hold up as well, right? So currently, like for the current price point, I would definitely rather buy 2K Pros than 1 XP, right? Even if the efficiency is a little bit worse, technically you're still going to get more hash actually by buying 2 of these guys. Let me show you why, especially if you buy that Epic board, which gives you massive flexibility, right? Currently, there is not a low power mode for the K Pro, but with like the Epic boards, if you want to underclock for efficiency, you can get it all the way to 110 terahash and remain with the efficiency of the XP. The XP's efficiency is 21.5. They were able to get it to 110 terahash and remain at that efficiency, right? So essentially, again, if you were buying 2 of these, which is what would bring you to the XP price, you would get a total of 220 terahash for the same type of efficiency, right? Again, if you want to leave them in normal mode, you'll get higher, or if you want to overclock them, you can go as high as $170 a piece, right? Up to like 340 terahash. So something to consider. And if you want more efficiency, the best underclock they had here was at 90.6 down to 20.5 joules a terahash, which is very close to even like the S21, right? A lot of people have been kind of trashing, you know, these smaller units, like, oh, don't get them, get the S21 and all this stuff. This is why it still makes sense. Like, guys, it's only within like 10 to 12% of the efficiency of the S21. Everybody's saying that the S21 is going to blow everything in the water and these things are going to be garbage. You think it's really worth it for like 12% efficiency? Efficiency, that small of an efficiency gain, going to be thrown out the window in the bull market, right? It's a big deal now, but it's not going to be that big of a deal in the bull market. So just factor those things in when you're doing your calculations, right? Again, go with the numbers. The numbers do not lie, right? Factor these things in, look at them, look at your overclocks, underclock potential, look at all those things, right? So pretty interesting there. One other thing I did know, BT Miners does have the Desway unit listed. So this is the first store I've seen that had it listed. It's at 4250, which at the time when it released, amazing, right? And it's kind of crazy how just a few months later, it's like a whole different world, right? We do have already the next gen miners announced, and this guy suddenly doesn't seem as good anymore, right? And it's just so fast moving, man. That's why it's such a hard market to get into, but props to them for coming out. Hopefully they did sell a good amount already and they continue. It's one of those things that if they were to came out in the bull market, would have done way better. We'll see how they continue, but it does look like hopefully maybe a lot of these other stores will also offer it, right? So we'll see how things go there. So pretty interesting there. Let's go on to the other new guy. So in the BTC world, the M60S, it is dropping this month, right? So that was kind of our question when we did our video, like what is the timeline going to be? Is it going to be Q1 like the others? That was my guess, but some of the places we're talking about November, and it is. So Vosk was the first one I was able to see. I did get a unit, right? He's had his for a couple of days in hand. It's ready to go, right? So pretty interesting there. Price-wise, the better prices are going to be directly from whatsminer. They currently are selling theirs. Just factor in that if you are interested in buying one from them, email them, get a full quote to see where they are shipping from. Again, if you're in the US and it's going to be shipping from China, you are probably going to get hit with those 30% tariffs, right? So it's going to be cheaper buying from one of the stores. But if they are shipping from the US, you don't got to worry about it. This is going to be your best price, right? So they have been producing units in the US recently. So it's not something that's out of the question, and it's something they have been doing, right? Which is pretty cool. I wish they would have put that out there more. I think that would have people more bullish on it, right? So definitely find that out. If not, all the different stores are slowly going to start listing them. Miner Bros has theirs. They have the 60S, which is the superior model, $52.49 to $56.99, and then the M60, which is I think 19.6 joules of terahash, $45.49 and $49.49. So it is a bit higher, but again, it's definitely going to be cheaper if you're going to get hit with those tariffs, or if there's a risk of, like, I wouldn't even risk it, because at that point, what's done is done, and you got to pay those tariffs. There's no return or anything like that. It's you got to pay it, right? So just something to consider, right? So as they start getting listed, we'll have a better idea of actual price points from the other vendors. Right now, they're currently in the process. A lot of stores still don't have them listed, so expect that to be happening in the next few days. So pretty interesting drops, especially those freaking ice rivers. Let me know, guys. Let me know. What are you guys doing? What are you guys thinking? Are you guys going to hop on the ice river bandwagon and buy one from the Icy Boys? Or are you going to get a BTC miner? Are you holding off for Black Friday? Because it kind of looked like maybe there weren't going to be many deals, but some of these altcoin miners have been going down. So that kind of gives me a little bit of renewed hope for the altcoin miners. I don't really think there's going to be any deals on BTC miners. If anything, it might be the inverse. And even with those altcoin miners, man, we've been pumping like crazy. Things can turn around just like that. Like, look where we're at just 3 weeks later, right? Whole different world. Crypto moves so fast, anything can happen. Got to look at that risk versus reward and see what makes sense, right? So again, guys, let me know what you guys are doing. Please comment, like, and subscribe, guys. Thank you for watching, and I am out.